Hey, this is Ben Ingram from the Atlanta Braves Radio Network, and you're about to go riding with the Braves, brought to you by Chevrolet. Let's see who else is joining us today. Riding with the Braves and riding with us early this morning before the sun even comes up, Chadwick Tromp. Good to have you with us, man. Good morning.
Good morning. Good to be here. Good to be here.
Yeah.
Like you said, early in the morning, but it's gonna be a good day.
Very early. We're in the Chevy Silverado 1500, and this truck is awesome.
Yeah, this is unbelievable.
I mean, you walked up on this thing. You're saying, "Is this the truck we're driving?" This thing's great, isn't it?
I was impressed. It's very big, very spacious, has all everything you need.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a sick truck. I
It
like
is.
it. I'm normally not a truck guy, but hopping in this is making me question it a little bit.
Yeah, it's a big one. This is a good one. Well, this is a perfect example of a typical spring training day. As we're filming this, it's spring training. We're about halfway through spring training, and it's dark outside. So if people are watching this, they might think that it's night. No, it's actually a little bit after 7 a.m. But this is a normal routine for spring training, isn't it?
Yeah, this is when we show up to the ballpark every day. I try to be there a little earlier. The days are long in spring training, but I feel like if you go to bed early enough, you can kind of make your way through the morning fairly easily. But yeah, this is it, man. This is it.
You were telling me you go to bed at 8 p.m. down here?
Yeah, I try to get in bed at around 8:15, just because the days are long. The days are long, and you're not used to it. So in the off season, you're not waking up that early. You come here, you're waking up earlier. So I feel like I gotta get in bed, man. I gotta get in bed.
Gotta get that sleep. How hard is it once we get to the season, because all of a sudden everything changes and we go to playing night games all the time?
Yeah, I think usually at the end of spring training, we have a couple days where we kind of try to adjust to the schedule of the season, but it's never the easiest to play a game at night and then you're getting in bed at 11, 11:30, 12.
Right.
The bright side is you can wake up later,
right?
But you're already used to waking up earlier,
right?
So you're gonna find yourself waking up at 7 anyways to get coffee and all the good stuff. So it's a transition, but it's part of it.
That's the way it goes. Yeah, it's what we signed up to do.
Yes.
All right, tell me about Aruba, because we hear about all these different Latin countries and players coming from all over the place. We don't see too many players from Aruba.
Yeah.
So, and you're one of the few who's made it to the big leagues from Aruba.
Yeah, I'm actually one of 6 of all time.
Wow.
So, which is it's kind of crazy to think about. I feel very grateful. Aruba is my home. I've lived there my whole life. I still go back there in the off season. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. If you haven't visited yet, you should go. I would say it's very quiet. It's very quiet. There's not a lot going on, but just enough for you to have a good week.
That sounds perfect.
It's just it's the perfect getaway. The people are sweet. So there's just a lot of good things over there. But yeah, being one of 6, definitely a proud.
All right, so if you're one of 6,
yeah.
Who did you grow up watching? Was there a player that you grew up idolizing, or a player from Aruba that was someone who really had an impact on you playing baseball?
Yeah, well, not from Aruba per se, but Andrew Jones was my idol growing up. It was I keep explaining this to people because back in the day in Aruba, it's either WGN or TBS.
Right.
So you had to pick one. And
so Cubs or Braves?
Cubs or Braves.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, the Braves were better, in my opinion.
Yes.
So and Andrew was playing for them, so it was an easy person to look up to, and I mean I still look up to him to this day. So I think he's been awesome mentor to me.
Well, and Aruba and Curacao are really close, aren't they?
Yes, very close. It's only like a 15-minute plane ride.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of those where you hop in the plane at 7 in the morning, you're in Curacao at 7:15.
That's cool.
Yeah. So. But it's Aruba and Curacao, both beautiful places.
What's the name of your hometown in Aruba?
Actually, it's actually Palm Beach.
Palm Beach.
It's Palm Beach.
Okay.
It's Palm Beach. Yeah. It's on the side where the hotels are, as we call it, the high-rise area.
Right.
But it's Palm Beach.
So did you grow up going to the beach a lot?
I did actually. Every weekend we tried to go to the beach.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's right there.
Right.
I actually live like 3 minutes from the beach.
Oh,
so
that's perfect.
It's amazing. And then once you grow older, you start doing the other activities. You start running and stuff like that, and all those things we can do. I go to the beach like a lot of times. You
Yeah.
can just go and watch a sunset, or it's
Yeah.
it's good. It's a good thing.
All right, so you mentioned that there aren't too many players who've made it to the big leagues from Aruba. When did it hit you that this could happen for you? When did you feel like, you know what, I actually could be a professional baseball player and go to the States and make it to the big leagues?
I remember when I was 11. When I was 11, I went to play for Aruba in the international tournament. It was a little league tournament. We went to Puerto Rico, and I think I was the youngest guy. I was the youngest guy in the tournament, and it was my first year catching.
Really?
Yeah,
At 11?
At 11, and I became they gave me the best catcher award, whatever. And I went back to Aruba, and I was like, I normally play shortstop, but
Right.
I feel like I should start just catching.
Yeah.
So ever since then, I started catching, and I was like, I was pretty good at this. I always wanted to be a baseball player,
Right.
but that's when it hit me, like my position. So I think for me, it was when I was 11. It just felt like I was ahead of like everybody else in terms of like where my mindset was and how I controlled the game from an early age.
So was that the coach's idea for you to catch, or yours?
Yeah, it's actually
or-
my yeah, it's actually my coach. Actually my brother-in-law.
Really?
Yeah, my sister's husband. He told me to catch, and yeah, the rest is history.
And would you say that it was just a natural fit that you got back there, you put on the gear, and you liked it immediately?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
you don't like it. No, but, yeah, you get back there and you were catching gear for the first time. It's never fun. It's never fun. But
Yeah.
I feel like once you understand that what the game requires from you, that's when you say like, okay, this is fun.
Yeah.
But nah, initially I was mad. I was like, no, I want to be second base or third base.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it's always fascinating to me how guys become catchers, because everybody wants to be a center fielder, a shortstop, maybe a pitcher. Catching might be the last selection of players as they're coming up.
I feel like catcher, but for me especially, it was like, who can I rely on to be on time, or to be responsible, or to not forget anything?
Right.
I feel like that's like the guy that always goes to catch, and yeah, he just put me back there, and I hated it the first day. I was like, why are you making me do this? But then I loved it.
Who do you think you've learned the most from and about catching, and as you've progressed into the big leagues, who are some of the guys that you've drawn the most wisdom from?
I would say I spend the most time with Darno, with Travi. So I feel like I'm spending the last 4 years with him, and just having a direct line of communication with him, just seeing how he does it. I feel like he's been the one that has taught me the most about
Right.
catching. I came up with the red system, and the minor leagues is a little different. The game is different than the big league. So, and then with the Giants, I was with Buster for a year. I mean, that was unbelievable. The amount of stuff that he knows, how ahead he is of everybody else is impressive. But in terms of general spending time on a daily basis, Travis Darno is my guy.
It's such a good one, and you've been around some good ones. What do you think you know now about catching that maybe you didn't know when you were in the minor leagues?
What I know now about catching that I didn't know when I was in the minor leagues, how many details is there behind the scenes for you to know? Because once you're in the minor league, it's almost like you're focused on your craft. You're focused
Right.
on how good can I receive? How good can I throw this ball? How can I manage to hit while being able to control the game? Once you get to the big leagues, you have all that figured out, and there's another layer coming in of knowing the pitcher, and another layer on top of that of just knowing how to manage a game, knowing how to manage certain situations, knowing how to manipulate certain situations, just knowing both sides in and out, both teams in and out. Just all those things that you do behind the scenes.
It's so much studying you have to do.
Yeah.
I feel like with other positions, yeah, you're prepping for a pitcher that day or whatever, and you play the game, and that's that. For catchers, you have to know everything, and it changes every day because of the pitcher that you're working with.
Exactly, and I've said this before also. Is for me the important part is also understanding who the person is, what kind of person he is. How does he respond to certain situations, and like you said, every day is a different pitcher, so it's a different human being on the mound that you have to control and help be their best of their abilities. Because I think at the end of the day, that's what we're here for. We want to make every pitcher the best that they can be.
Yeah. Well, and gosh, done such a great job of that. I look at this stat the last 4 or 5 years, how good they've been. A Cy Young Award winner last year in Chris Sale. Tell me about catching Chris. And 'cause he seems unique from the sense that he doesn't call his own pitches, does he?
No.
He never shakes off.
It never shakes off. That I think for me it feels good too. It speaks to the kind of person he is. He's been unbelievable. I mean, I think the way that he came in last year in sprint training, we could all tell that there was something mentally that he was like, okay, I'm ready for this. We all felt it. I remember his first outing. He went to Bradenton and he was pumping 95, 96 in spring. And we were all like, oh my goodness, he's back.
Yeah.
And we were also happy for him. I think we just kind of rode that train throughout the whole year, just genuinely being very happy for him with the amount of adversity he's had to overcome. You know how it is being injured. It's not the easiest, So we were just happy for him. But just seeing him doing his own thing during the season, and Chris is a guy you don't have to say a lot of things. He knows he's a future Hall of Famer.
Right.
Like, he knows what he needs to do every single day. You don't have to say much to him, but to keep it very short, Chris Sale makes me love baseball more.
Oh, that's cool.
That's like the easiest way I can explain it.
That is so cool. And getting to catch him, what a thrill. And I bet it feels like when he wins the Cy Young last year, I mean, all the catchers that work with him, that's a feather in your cap. It's almost like you winning an award as well.
Yeah. And in the same sense, I remember the speech. I was there. I sat down. I can remember I was at home and I was like, damn. And my mom came over and she was like, hey, you caught a Cy Young this year.
That's so cool.
And I was like, because you don't think about it, like when the season ends, you just like, we had a good stay, he had a good year and, you expect him to win the Cy Young. But once he actually gets it, that's when it hits you and you're like, wow.
It's special.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
I feel like me, Murph and Trav, we all did an amazing job with him last year.
Yeah, you did. Definitely did. Tell me about Spencer Schwellenbach, because we go back to spring training a year ago, and we didn't even see him at big league camp. And then we get to the end of the season, and he's one of the best pitchers that's on the staff. And you got to see that progression up close and personal last year. Yes.
And I also remember even in spring training, like you say, he wasn't up here, but he was in the backfield. He was throwing. It looked good, and we always looked good. Spencer Schwellenbach I think he's a unicorn. He's got a bunch of different pitches. He's one of those pitchers that he can invent a pitch tomorrow and he'll be able to throw it really good in a week and a half or in 2 weeks. That's who he is, and that's the amount of talent that he has. I'm very excited to see what this year is going to hold for him. He's very impressive and an amazing human being. Also, he's very composed. It feels like nothing gets to him, and that's a good quality that I've seen in the past in really good pitchers, is how they just handle the situation. And he's one of the best at a young age at handling situation and the type of conversations that he's having and how he carries himself every day.
Yeah, very impressive. I want you to tell me about one more pitcher, Raisel Iglesias. He comes on ninth inning, game on the line. He's throwing the stuff that he's got.
I think he's got to be like a top 3 reliever in the game.
Yeah.
He doesn't care. Talk about somebody that just knows he is good, and he doesn't care to go up there, and he's gonna show you every single day that he's the best. And I think he's been wired like that for a long time. He's very fun to catch too, but his repertoire is fun. It's fun when you have a guy that can throw every pitch for a strike, and they're all plus pitches.
Right.
And you can throw them in any count.
Yeah.
I think that's like one of my favorite things is when you can play around with that.
Right.
You can set up guys in different ways. You can give them different looks. You can do this. You can do that. For me, it's amazing to catch him. We're very blessed to have him, honestly.
Yeah, he's such a great closer, and it's a great guy to be around too.
Yeah.
This might be a tough question to answer, but you talk about setting guys up. What are you looking for behind the plate? When you're calling pitches and you're trying to take whatever your pitcher that particular night throws, match that versus the weaknesses of the batter. That's got to be hard to remember all that, but how do you go about setting that up and setting up a batter to try to get him to chase?
I don't know how much I can answer
Right.
answer in this, because there's something
Without giving anything away. Yeah.
um, just most the numbers will tell you.
Yeah.
I think the numbers will tell you. If you do enough studying, you'll find out. You find out a lot on what kind of guy the batter is, what are the pitches that he can hit and whatnot. Also, you got to remember who's up there. So every at bat is different. That's one I will say. Every at bat is different. You might throw the same thing that you threw the at bat before, or you might mix it up, depending on the game situation. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of layers, but I'm not gonna go into that, 'cause
Well,
I'll be giving away.
It's so fascinating to think about, because you could have a guy come up in the second inning. You might get him one way, then the game dictates that he comes back up with a game on the line in the 8th or 9th inning, and you might not want to overthink things. Let's do what we did the last time, or you might want to do something completely different.
Yeah.
And that's up to you to decide.
Yeah, and baseball is a game of adjustments. So I think whoever makes the adjustments earlier, that's the one that ultimately comes up on top. And I feel like that's how every game is. It's but I hate giving up runs. That's one of the I hate that.
Okay, let's say there's a meeting at the mound where you want to go out and talk to your pitcher. No pitching coach, no manager, nothing like that. What does a typical meeting go like? What do you say to your pitchers?
Well, my typical meeting is to just give them a breather, because pitchers are, they're so locked in.
Mm-hmm.
They're so locked in mentally. So whenever I go, it's mostly like, hey, I'm here to give you a breather. Just, take your time, and whenever you're ready, just let me know, and then we'll go get this guy out. But it's always a positive reinforcement,
right?
For me, especially, just understanding, like, because nobody wants to give up runs. Nobody wants to give up a homer. Nobody wants nobody wants to walk anybody. Mm-hmm. We all know that. So what can I say to this guy to get him in the right headspace, that he can execute these next couple pitches? So for me, it's mostly go to the mound, give him a breather, just make sure he's gathering all his thoughts, because at the end of the day, he's a human being too, and he has a lot of thoughts going in his head. But for me, is to make sure that he has time to think about everything, but also come back to where he needs his mind to be to make the next pitch.
Is it a similar meeting when Cranny goes out?
Yeah, similar. Cranny has when we talk about experience, he's a guy that has a lot of experience. So his meetings can be a little more detailed. Mm-hmm. But that's for me, that's the respect I have for him. Is like I'm gonna make sure that I communicate with Cranny. Also, what are we gonna do to this pitcher? What are we gonna say to him? So it's always a team effort. It's never I'm by myself, he's by himself.
Right.
It never feels like that. It always feels like we're collectively a team, and we both have different messages, but we're all guiding towards the same goal.
Sure.
But the message might be different.
Right. As we put these videos out, I hear from lots of young kids who watch these videos and love hearing from players with their favorite teams. You mentioned you started catching when you're 11 years old.
Yeah.
I promise you there are hundreds of kids out there who will watch this, learn about catching. Hey, I'm curious in catching. What kind of advice would you give a little leaguer who's looking to catch or starting out in his adventure as a catcher?
I would say the first thing I would say is keep moving around. Don't just catch. If you have the chance to play another position or do something else, do it also. If you want to catch, it's awesome, but just keep in the back of your head, like, catching does take a toll on you. So your legs become slower with time. Just make sure you keep taking care of your body.
Right.
Just because you're a catcher doesn't mean that you don't have to do all these things, because nowadays it's whoever stays healthy the longest is going to be successful. I would say just have fun, man. Have fun controlling the game. Try to play around with the hitters. I think that's something that I always enjoyed when I was little, and just try to win every game. I think the mindset of helping the pitcher is something that carried me for a long time. I always want to help the pitcher. How can I help the pitcher? How can I help the team? And I think once you start doing that and understanding that, I feel like every game is going to be fun.
Trompy, it's great to visit with you, man. Thank you so much for doing this. It's been a blast having you with us.
Always.
You got
Appreciate
it.
you. Yeah.